There's been a noticeable shift behind the scenes at Rangers ever since Danny Rowe took the reins as the new manager. And while the team is still trying to find its identity on the pitch, off the field, the club structure is already moving in a new direction. This week, Andrew Kavanagh, a name becoming increasingly influential at Ibrox, appears to be playing a central role in the transformation process, offering a much-needed spark ahead of the winter transfer window. Rowe's arrival hasn't just been about changing the coaching staff. It's signaling a broader rebuild at the club, and the early signs point to a clear intention: restructure, refresh, and restore the standards expected at Rangers Football Club. It's no secret that this season has started far below the expectations of the fans and the board. With only one win in 8 league matches so far, frustration has been mounting, and not just in the stands. That disappointment has echoed through the corridors of the club, and Patrick Stewart, the chief executive, was placed under serious pressure. Supporters had made their voices heard, calling for his resignation after the failed approach for Russell Martin and what many viewed as a directionless start to the campaign. Yet, in a move that surprised some, Stewart made it crystal clear he has no intentions of walking away. Standing firm during Danny Rowe's unveiling, he said he's never once considered quitting. According to him, this is about fighting for something that matters deeply, and while the results have fallen short, the mission remains the same: bring Rangers back to where they belong. Stewart didn't dodge the criticism. In fact, he addressed it head-on, admitting that the hurt felt in the stands is mirrored in the boardroom. He acknowledged that as chief executive, he's a natural target when things go wrong. But rather than deflect, he promised to absorb the pressure, work harder, and earn back the trust of the Rangers' support. Strong words, but as always in football, it's not about what's said, it's about what comes next. Fans are tired of words. They want to see that change in attitude reflected in performances, results, and decisions at all levels of the club. For now, Stewart remains defiant. Whether that stance will hold over the next few months could depend entirely on how quickly this team turns things around under Rowe. As for Andrew Kavanagh, his role seems to be growing, and not just in the boardroom. He's emerged as one of the driving forces behind a potential reshaping of the squad in January. Speaking about the upcoming window, Kavanagh was open about the possibility of new investment being injected into the club, but with a very specific purpose. According to him, if Danny Rowe feels the squad still lacks the necessary tools to compete at the top level, the board is prepared to back him financially. That kind of promise can be music to the ears of a new manager, especially one who walked into a dressing room still recovering from a tough start. And while Rangers did spend significantly over the summer, there's a growing feeling that key pieces are still missing. The sales of Hamza Igamain and Cyril Dessers brought in valuable funds, but the squad that remains has yet to truly gel. And that, perhaps more than anything, has made it clear that the rebuild is far from complete. Kavanagh, along with Parag Marathe and others within the hierarchy, plan to sit down with Rowe over the coming weeks to closely assess where the squad stands and what it still needs. The message was clear. No one at the top believed this team was a finished product coming out of the summer. There was always an understanding that some gaps would remain, and the goal now is to fill them in a smarter, more calculated manner. Experience, steel, and leadership, those are the qualities that seem to be lacking. And Kavanagh has made it clear that, if they need to act in January, they will not hesitate. He also addressed the broader challenge of owning and running a club like Rangers. No, it's not been easy, but they never thought it would be. This isn't a club where mediocrity goes unnoticed. Every stumble, every mistake, every missed opportunity is magnified. Kavanagh admitted they didn't expect things to look quite this bleak at this stage, but he also said the adversity has only strengthened their resolve. The goal remains unchanged: turn this ship around, get back to winning ways, and give supporters a reason to believe again. Whether that takes new signings, tactical shifts, or internal restructuring, the board now appears more willing than ever to do what's necessary to bring the club back to its best. But even with all that said, there's still tension brewing, and some of it has nothing to do with results. Another major talking point this week has been the appointment of Robbie Fulwell to a senior recruitment role at the club. His father, Kevin Fulwell, is the club's sporting director, and that alone has raised eyebrows among the support. At Danny Rowe's unveiling, Fulwell Sr. addressed the situation directly, making it clear that he wasn't the one who pushed for the appointment. According to him, the move came from technical director Dan Puri, who had previously tried to bring Robbie to Everton, only to be blocked by his father at the time, who didn't feel his son was ready for the challenge. This time, though, the scenario was different. Puri pushed again, and Kevin admitted that it was tough to say no, but made sure that the board, including Stewart and Kavanagh, was fully informed throughout the process. He insisted that Robbie Fulwell's resume speaks for itself. With previous roles at Aston Villa, Norwich City, and experience in scouting and player development, Kevin claimed his son was pursued by 2 Premier League clubs before Rangers made their move. And while he acknowledged the optics might not look great, the perception of nepotism is unavoidable. He doubled down on the belief that merit and talent drove the decision, not family ties. In fact, he claimed that Robbie went through a more rigorous hiring process than most at the club, precisely because of the sensitivity around his appointment. Now, whether that explanation satisfies the fan base is another matter. It's clear the leadership understands the frustration among supporters, but understanding and addressing it are 2 different things. In moments like these, it's actions that define credibility. Robbie's success or failure won't just be a reflection on his own performance. It'll reflect on the entire leadership structure that signed off on his hiring. There's little margin for error here, especially when supporters are already skeptical about the club's direction and decision-making. As it stands, there's a lot riding on the next few months. Danny Rowe's ability to stabilize the team, the board's willingness to invest smartly, and the internal cohesion of the sporting structure will all be tested in ways they haven't been for quite some time. Everyone at Ibrox seems to be saying the right things, but the time for talk is fading. The supporters are tired of patience and promises. They want urgency, clarity, and results. And with a new manager in place and January approaching fast, the next moves will be crucial in determining whether this new era is built on solid ground or simply more empty hope. The atmosphere surrounding Rangers right now is one of cautious anticipation. There's a new manager in the dugout, a promise of winter reinforcements, and the suggestion that the club's internal operations are becoming more aligned. But make no mistake, there's no sense of celebration yet. What we're seeing is a club trying to steady itself after a chaotic spell, and every decision moving forward will be under the microscope. Danny Rowe has barely had time to settle into his office, but already, the pressure to deliver is unmistakable. His task isn't just to win games. It's to restore belief, redefine identity, and in many ways, reconnect Rangers with its own expectations. The challenge he faces is enormous. This is a squad that has struggled not only for results, but for rhythm, confidence, and structure. Players brought in over the summer have yet to fully adapt, and while the board has signaled readiness to support Rowe in January, the question now is, what kind of players will they go after? Will they chase experience over youth? Focus on leadership qualities rather than technical flair? These are not small decisions. Every signing from this point on will be a statement, not just about the football, but about the club's direction. There's been plenty of criticism aimed at the summer recruitment campaign, and with good reason. For all the money that was spent, the team doesn't look significantly stronger than it did last season. In fact, in some areas, it looks weaker. The midfield lacks bite. The attack lacks consistency. And defensively, too many basic mistakes have cost valuable points. That's where Danny Rowe's real test lies. Can he organize this group into a unit that competes every week? Can he motivate players who've been underperforming? And perhaps most importantly, can he help the board identify where they went wrong and what needs to change? The hope is that his fresh perspective, coming in without the baggage of previous campaigns, can serve as a reset button. But resets only work when followed by action. The boardroom promises are clear. Kavanagh has said the money will be there if needed. But now we wait to see if that support translates into smart, effective transfers rather than panic buys. There's no room for sentimental decisions, and there's no appetite among the supporters for excuses. January must be about precision. Identify the weak spots, move quickly, and bring in players who can slot into the side and contribute immediately. There's no time to wait for potential to blossom. Rangers need results now. But recruitment isn't the only area under scrutiny. Leadership across the club, from top to bottom, is facing questions. That's why the appointment of Robbie Fulwell drew such a reaction. Even with Kevin Fulwell's defense of the process, the fact remains, fans are suspicious. that suspicion won't fade until they see professionalism, accountability, and improvement. Robbie will have to prove himself through his work, not his surname. And while it's good that Kevin acknowledged the concerns and spoke openly about the process, supporters are right to demand transparency and results. This isn't a club where decisions can be taken lightly or hidden behind titles. Every move is felt by the fanbase, and every misstep is amplified. The overall mood is complex, somewhere between frustration and faint optimism. There's no doubt the fanbase is hurting. The start to the season was not just poor, it felt like a betrayal of everything the club is supposed to represent. But with Danny Rowe's arrival, there's a glimmer of something different. The energy in his early sessions has been positive. He said the right things. He's made it clear that he understands the standards expected at Rangers. That's a good start, but only a start. The fixtures ahead will define whether his words carry weight. And he'll need backing, not just financially, but structurally. That's why the evolving sporting setup is so important. If the board truly wants long-term success, they must build an environment where scouting, recruitment, development, and coaching are all aligned. That hasn't been the case in recent years. Too many disjointed decisions. Too many signings that didn't fit the manager's style. Too many short-term fixes. The next chapter of this club's story has to be about strategy. Real, coherent strategy, and Danny Rowe's appointment must be the first piece in that puzzle. But to turn a page, the club must also confront what's gone wrong. No one wants to dwell on failure, but ignoring it would be just as dangerous. The fans don't want recycled talking points or vague optimism. They want honesty. If mistakes were made in the summer, admit them. If the squad lacks leadership, say it. If certain players haven't delivered, move them on. That kind of honesty builds credibility. And right now, rebuilding trust might be the most important task of all. Because trust is what's truly broken. Not just between supporters and players, but between fans and the people running the club. Stewart's insistence that he won't step down is bold, but it will only resonate if followed by results. Kavanagh's pledge to invest is encouraging, but it has to lead to smart decisions. And Fulwell's promise that his son earned the job on merit must be backed up by quality work in the recruitment department. Every claim must now be met with action. That's the only way forward. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. The rumor mill in Glasgow has been working overtime this week after whispers emerged that James Tavernier, the talismanic Rangers captain, might be preparing to hang up his Ibrox boots. Sources close to the defender hint at a shocking twist in the Scottish Premiership, one that could shake the foundations of the club. Tavernier, who has been a fixture in the Rangers squad for over a decade, is no stranger to headlines. But this time, it seems the chatter has teeth. Fans have taken to social media in droves, speculating wildly about the reasons behind the supposed exit. Some suggest it's a desire for a new challenge abroad, perhaps in England or even further afield, while others whisper about contract wrangles and a need for fresh blood at Ibrox. Tavernier has been nothing short of a talisman for Rangers, a player whose leadership on and off the pitch has steered the club through both triumphs and turbulence. His pinpoint deliveries from the right flank, his knack for crucial goals, and his unwavering commitment have made him a household name in Scottish football. To imagine the team without him leaves supporters uneasy, and the potential vacuum of experience and skill is already being felt in discussion forums and pub debates alike. The timing of the announcement, if it is indeed forthcoming, adds fuel to the speculation. Rangers are in a transitional phase, with new faces arriving and seasoned stars seeking their next chapters. Tavernier's departure, should it materialize, could be the signal of a new era at Ibrox, one where the club recalibrates its ambitions and reshapes its identity. Naturally, no official word has been issued, but insiders suggest conversations have taken place behind closed doors, with the board aware that retaining the captain may be a tough ask. Meanwhile, rival clubs are rumored to be circling, seeing the chance to snag a player with an impeccable record and a fearless attitude on the pitch. For now, supporters are left with tantalizing hints, fervent hopes, and the uneasy realization that the man who has led Rangers through countless battles might soon be leading elsewhere. Whether this is a genuine rumor or merely the product of restless imaginations, one thing is certain. The name James Tavernier will continue to dominate the gossip columns and the hearts of Rangers fans for some time yet. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.